Hello and welcome back to this episode of the Peak Results Academy podcast. I'm your host, Rich Fournier. And in this episode, I sit down with Todd and Cindy Su. Now, Todd and Cindy are realtors and entrepreneurs based out of California. They run a team brokerage that closes almost 1,000 transactions a year. And they also run 7 other businesses on top of being a top producing team. Now, in this episode, Todd and Cindy talk about childhood hardships that have given them a drive and motivation to not only attain financial success, but also to help others on their team and in their personal community. In this episode, they share 2 mistakes they may be keeping you from winning in real estate. They also share a 15-minute tip to help you get past those dreaded tasks. And they also give you 6 must-read books to put on your nightstand. Now listen, this is an outstanding interview, so grab your pen and paper and get ready to take some notes. So stay tuned.
Have you ever wondered why some people thrive in all areas of their life? Welcome to the Peak Results Academy podcast with your host, Rich Fournier. Each week, we interview industry experts who consistently dominate in the fields of health, business, and beyond. Our mission is to share their personal struggles and strategies so that you can create your own peak results. Welcome to the Academy.
Hello, everybody. Rich Fournier here for the Peak Results Academy podcast. Of course, I'm your host. And in today's episode, I'm super excited to have a power couple in the real estate industry with us today, all the way from San Jose, California. Todd and Cindy Su, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Rich.
I'm so excited. We just had a preliminary conversation before we started recording. I'm a little bit blown away by some of the numbers that you're sharing with me today. And so for our audience, which is a global audience, yes, I'm located in Toronto, but as you are probably starting to see, a lot of our listeners are into the US and throughout the rest of the world. Your brokerage is called Realty World. Your central location is in San Jose, California. You have about 180 agents and staff within your brokerage. And I was trying to clarify now, were those 180 agents on your team or are they individual agents within your brokerage? Because the numbers that you're giving me, and we're going to share them in a few moments, I'm a little bit shocked. So maybe you can help enlighten us a little bit about the structure of your organization.
Cindy and I, we run Realty World, and our sub-franchise is also Advantage. We're the main brokers. Both of us are brokers, real estate brokers. And we special in the lower end affordable housing segment and that initial first time buyer. But our structure is basically we run and manage 180 agents and staff members throughout our company, all throughout California. So we have over 13 offices up and down the coast of California, and we have managers in each office. We are the main hub. Cindy and I, we push out a lot of the leads. We do a lot of the training. Cindy does a lot of the heavy lifting as far as the training wise. I myself, I do a lot of the managing and personally do quite a few of the sales still. And but we're trying to push a little bit away from that because now our passion is more of training and creating more 6-figure earners throughout the company. But always been a high producer throughout my personal career with a lot of help from Cindy.
That's amazing. And right now, and the reason why we do talk about numbers, and I do want you to share, and I do want you to talk shamelessly self-promote yourself. Because you've done an amazing job. And I think from what I'm understanding, there's a heck of a story inside of here. And your job is to share that because this podcast is about creating a peak result in someone's life and business. And I want to figure out what has enabled you or allowed you to create a peak result in your business. Now, you mentioned somewhere around 6,000 personal properties that you've sold.
Yes. Personally, we've done that. Yes.
Number. And overall, the organization is at around over 14,000 units that have transacted.
Yes, correct. We're very blessed and very lucky.
Well, in my experience, Todd, luck has nothing to do with it. So let's talk a little bit about both your backgrounds. Where did you come from? How did you get started in the business? Because listen, I mean, first of all, how many transactions would your organization team do in a given year?
Well, we probably do anywhere between 700 and 1,000 transactions a year,
And
pretty
how many
easily.
do you personally do in your best time?
Oh, my best time, we were doing about 500 personally, obviously with the help of I was doing about 500 transactions. We've kind of scaled that back a little bit to help our team out to create more of those six-figure earners. And again, our passion is now trying to create that environment where we can create other successful real estate agents and create their own future. And seeing them grow excites us even more than our own personal goals now. Just these things manifest, just reading up on different books and being a big student of the greatest thinkers out there. We're always constantly learning. You can kind of see behind us all these books behind us that we enjoy. So yeah, that's.
I have to send you a copy of mine.
Oh, that's awesome!
Right.
Yeah, I started to read that. We've watched a bunch of your podcasts, so we're fans of your podcast. You do a great job, and you've got some big producers that you've had under. So we're very honored to be mentioned in that group.
Well, you're performing at an outstanding level, and so from my understanding, you emigrated to the United States. Where did you come from?
Yeah, I think Cindy has a great story. I personally was born in San Jose, California. My family immigrated for my first year that I was born into the U.S.
Yep.
But I think our background is pretty interesting. Cindy, from a really early age, was a salesperson. So I'll let Cindy share her story a little bit.
Hey, Cindy, I'm dying to know.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Where do I start, honey?
Well, just tell her as a kid what you had to do to make ends meet.
Well, first of all, I was not born and raised here. I was born and raised in Vietnam, and my dad sponsored my mom and my brother here and I when I was 15, so 30-something years ago. But I wanted to make it really short. Is that okay?
Yes.
So my dad left us when I was 5 years old in Vietnam. Left us with two brothers and my mom, and unfortunately he didn't communicate with us for about 8 years. So during that 8 years, mom took us to live far away from grandma and the whole family because she was depressed, I guess, and we never get to communicate with any family member. So real food was never on the table. We ate potatoes and rice and pretty much that's it. So I didn't know any better until I was 8 years old. And I figured, I need real food. I can't just eat coconut meat and rice and potato all day. So I to go out and look for a job. In my village, nobody want to hire a little 8-year-old girl, doesn't know how to cook, doesn't know how to, prepare a meal and stuff like that. So I kept looking, and I faced a lot of no and rejection. But there was an ego in me that I wanted real food for support my brother and my mom. So I ended up getting a job selling balloons for this lady in my village. And she didn't want to hire me at first because she said that she couldn't afford to pay me. So then I offered to work for free. So I worked for free for a couple weeks. And then one day she got sick during that 2 weeks. And she asked if I can take over the whole thing the whole day. So I did, and I did really, really well. And then I became interested in her business. So I asked her if she can sell her business to me, but I don't have any money to buy it. So I asked her if I can sell everything and pay it back to her at the end of the day. She said yes. And that's what I did. And then I started to have competition. So other kids started to copy me. And of course, they would throw rock at my balloons so they can kill my balloons so they can sell more. So instead of giving up, I came up with the idea, because I'm very artistic and I can draw anything. So I draw cartoon characters on my balloons, and I harvest leaves from different branches, different shape, and I tied it together and I sold it for double. And the children loved it. And I pumped the balloons so big that I can pump faster so that I can sell more. So that's my entrepreneurship started.
You were 8 years old when this started.
So I do that for 4 years. And then I started to recruit other kids that are needed to make money like me. schooling wasn't for me at that time. So I dropped out when I was in the 3rd grade. So passing forward, 8 years later, my dad sponsored us over to the US, and I came here when I was 15. And after that, I went to high school, graduated college, went to UC Santa Barbara, graduated with bachelor degree in chemistry and biochemistry, AA in business, got in dental school to become a dentist. And then after I got in UOP for 1 year, I realized it wasn't for me. So that's when I met Todd. And then the rest is history. That's 20 years ago.
Wow. What a story. Whereabouts in Vietnam?
As 8 hours away from Saigon. It's called Kiên Giang.
So I've only been in 2 spots. I've been to Hanoi and so I was there 5 years ago. Tried to do some business there, and it was the hardest place in the world to do business.
Yeah.
Yes, it's tough. It's tough, especially once you become successful.
Yeah. So when I met Todd, you can share a story how you met me and what scared you the most.
Yeah. So our start together in business, obviously we have 8 successful multi-million-dollar businesses. Our main business obviously is our real estate brokerage. But it wasn't always like that. Initially, it was really difficult. Initially, we were trying to save, 10 cents for postage. So we ended up going door to door, dropping off flyers, getting chased by dogs. We remember, especially we were thinking around Christmas time, we wanted to make sure they had calendars for the next year. We wanted to be the so we're out there in the cold. And then, we remember specifically there was this one dog that just went after both of us. And then we had to split apart. And then he started chasing Cindy. And then I tried to run and try to grab the dog. And then she got away. And then the dog kept going after me. So, we faced a lot of trials and tribulations, trying to save 10 cents and going out from door to door, trying to make it. So,
when you look at the real estate industry itself, and I spent a lot of time working and coaching with other agents.
Mm-hmm.
They're scared to pick up a phone.
I agree.
I don't think they've ever experienced any hardship whatsoever in their life. We care so much what people think and their opinion of us that we are stopped dead in our tracks. And when I look at what you guys are accomplishing today, I'm assuming that there was some fire within you from a very young age to continue to fight, continue to push. Most people would just give up. Mm-hmm. Why did you have that? Where did that fire come from?
For me, my fire comes from wanting to make money so I can pay my medicine for my mother, my brother, because I've lost my middle brother because of mom couldn't afford medicine. So my fears is always not able to buy medicine in case my mother and my younger brother, he was 1 year old at the time, if something happened to them, I would lose them too. So my drive was, hey, school wasn't that important. I know how to run a business. Don't make me sit there and do additions, So yeah, that was my drive. But when I got here. And I met Todd. I knew him a hard worker, and I figured, if I find the right one, I can work with my husband, regardless of what people say, regardless of what statistics say. 5% of married couple only 5% in the world can work together, and I want to be that 5%. So we try to make it work. Yeah.
My personal drive, growing up. A poor family, welfare, sleeping on the couch, lost my father when I was 6 years old. We ended up, living with my grandmother, and my mother was working 2 jobs trying to make ends meet for us, and I was trying to work to survive. My grandmother was the only one who got to give me love and share a lot of love with me, while my mother was trying to make money to keep us alive. So my grandmother was pretty old, and she was headed towards going into a home. And because I didn't want her to go into a home, we needed to figure out how to support. So we were working, gas stations, cleaning up toilets. And on the weekends, I would personally see my friends going out partying in high school, and I would be cleaning the toilets. And I remember one day I was just looking up from the toilet, and then one of my friends coming back at 1 a.m. because I would work the night shift. 1 a.m. I'd look up and I saw my friends. I'm holding, the thing to clean the toilet. And he was driving a nice brand new Ford Mustang. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, one of these days I want to own one of these. And obviously I own that and then some today, but we were dedicated to trying to keep my grandmother living with us and not going away, because she was the only real love that I had growing up while my mom wasn't around. So you can kind of hear Cindy get a little emotional and myself get a little emotional just talking about our past, and we like to fight. And being in the U.S. or America, it's great that we've got the opportunity to be able to make something of ourselves. And that's why we've really developed a passion for, number one is, the first time buyer, this is their first chance to buy something. And also, just helping out those who don't have that opportunity like ourselves, and create that opportunity for someone to create six figures, even though their English may not be that good, or they never got afford some of those opportunities. I remember distinctly one great story where we were able to create a six-figure earner from a guy that was working at, he was a 20-year-old working at Pizza Hut and had a paper route. And, every day we come in the office, he says, thank you, Todd and Cindy. Without you, we'd probably be still, delivering newspapers and well, these days they're probably not delivering newspapers, but working at Pizza Hut probably.
It's a crazy story. You got to put that in a book. Because I think people need to hear this. I think people need to hear stories from you. People like you, very special people who have made a distinct decision to create something extraordinary in their life against all odds.
Yes.
Right?
I agree. Yeah. And
in our industry, the real estate industry, the churn rate, according to NAR, is 82%. It's higher than that. I know it's higher than that. Mm-hmm. Right? It's probably closer to 90% over the 5-year period of time. I do have a personal question, and it's not a question that I ask a lot of people. Why did you pick real estate transactions? And how have you not become distracted by other business opportunities? Because when you produce at a certain level, opportunities come to you. Whether it's other franchises, whether it's other opportunities with other brokerage models that are gaining some steam today, whether it be the MLM world, whatever business models out there, how have you remained so focused and not become distracted?
Can I answer?
Yeah,
first?
go ahead.
I'm in charge of recruiting and training agents. So I'm very, very picky in terms of who can join the company. I'm not looking for a PhD or master degree person or super sale agent to come join us. I'm looking for 3 traits from the agents that join us: loyalty, hard work, and be coachable. Mm-hmm. If that person is coachable, I can teach anything. If that person, their character is not loyal person, I would ask simple question. I would ask, what would your mom and dad describe you? Can you give me 2 or 3 words that parents would describe you? Can you give me 1 or 2 or 3 words that your friend would describe you? And that is enough for me to assume the person have any type of character. Have a good heart is very, very important to me, to Todd and I, because we can be super producer in real estate, multi-million-dollar world. But like Todd said, we came from low-income family, and we know how painful it is to be able to not be able to buy anything. And so we developed the structure where we can help anybody that walk to our office or give us a call, whether it's a divorced mom, divorced dad, a credit report has 7 collections, we can help them all. So either they buy affordable housing or they buy single family home. Yeah. So we sit and we talk to them. And those are the type of agent that we're looking for, is have the good heart and the patience. Mm-hmm. to be able to do this kind of business with us.
I think going back to your question, Rich, on how not to get distracted, as we grew our business, as we tried to figure out what our passion was, and we got successful at a very early time in our career. We found that passion in helping those first-time buyers, those first people who just came over from different countries, and not even that, or some people that were lower income that couldn't afford to buy that single-family home. The Bay Area in San Jose, the median price is about $800,000. I mean, if someone's making $100,000, they're not going to be able to buy a single family, maybe not even in their lifetime. But if we give them that opportunity, that chance to buy a mobile home, a manufactured home, maybe a condo, a small condo, and that's where we specialize in. A lot of my friends, they go, well, what are you doing selling, a $100,000 mobile home, Todd? You're an awesome realtor. When you sold my $2 million home, you're lights out. Why don't you just do that? And I said, I do that. I do a great job with it. We do a great job with it, but we're not as passionate. We doesn't excite us. But when we see that first person walk in and they go, you know what? I don't know what to do. I'm renting for $3,000 a month. What should I do? Well, you know what? Buy a small condo, and then you're going to create some equity. You're going to create some potential growth, and then you're going to get the tax write-off. And from there, if you get lucky and all the stars start to align, which in this area, values have gone up by 3 to 5x. And so they've been able to generate, several $100,000 with just the tax write-off and just with the benefit of appreciation. And then they're buying their future home for $800,000. We had one of our clients just sit and bring us a bottle of wine, and we didn't know why, because we made 2 sales from her. We were like, hey, we should be giving you a bottle of wine. Why are you giving us a bottle? She said she just sat there and she started crying because she told me that, remember when you talked to us, Todd, when I'm a single mother, 50 years old, making $50,000, and I'm never going to own a house. The only way I would be able to own this house, and now my son lives with me and we're having our first grandson. We're living in this beautiful $1 million house that appreciated, all because we bought that one mobile home from you, Todd and Cindy. And so that's what excites us. That gives us our spark. That gives us selling the $2 million homes, $3 million homes. Those are great sales. But what really brings us, and you can see the smile and the passion from our voices, is from just seeing that one person go, hey, you know what, we made an impact in their life. What we do in real estate, I think we're not selling, things that depreciate, things that don't change and impact people's lives. We've seen it in 20-something years where someone went from, the opportunity to utilize, that money that they made on their house to create another business. So we are laser focused on helping those first-time buyers out, helping those initial customers out. And now we've morphed that into getting other agents and other team members to do the same thing. And we love training those. I know a lot of people think, oh man, it's so difficult to train agents that don't have licenses. We embrace it. Cindy is the master of training that brand new agent and understanding where they came from. And I remember they can see from current production and from past production, because my broker, when I first worked for, he wasn't in the business. So I was like, well, what have you done in your career? What are you doing? And it's great, I think, for them to see their own broker still in action and still doing things.
So is it fair to say that unless someone has a purpose outside of money, let's be honest, money can drive you for a period of time, but can it sustain you forever?
No, we don't believe so.
Well, when an agent comes to me, I say, well, I want to join your company. So I spend about 30 minutes with them, talking to them, find out what their real motivation is. If they come in and they say, I want 90% to lit, when can I close my first deal? Then those are not the right agent for us, okay? Yep. Because we want our agent to be able to sell everything, not just luxury home, not just condo, not just manufactured homes. Right. So we want our agent to have an open mind to help whoever needs help. And depends on their income and what they are comfortable with. Maybe they'll make $10,000 a month, but they have so many bills, they can't pay $5,000 in everything. So maybe $3,000 total is what they're comfortable. So we want the TT agent to build that long-term relationship Once that client is comfortable, they sell the mobile home or manufactured home, they'll call you again. And then once they're finished with that, they want to buy a house, they're not going to call a random realtor. They're going to call you again. So build that friendship, build that relationship. And that's what we teach our agents.
Why do so few agents attain the level that you guys have?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's one of our mentors, and we believe a lot in mentorship and learning constantly, and honestly, we believe a lot in manifestation. I think people don't focus on the long game. They focus on the short game, and just relentless effort. Will Smith says it. You get on the treadmill, and I may not be the most talented, I may not be the smartest, but you will have to drag me off of that treadmill before you get off, right? So it's not all about talent. It's just drop dead effort. And we spend a lot of time coaching. I mean, we're also couples mentors, because we've had some struggles initially in our relationship to balance business and love, and we're both very strong personalities. We're both very creative as well. But we combine not only the business side but the coaching side as well, where we teach them how do you work with your spouse, how do you get your spouse to understand your business, understand you're at 7:00 at Morton Steakhouse and you're picking up your cell phone because the customer is calling. Your spouse understand that's why you're at Morton Steakhouse, not because that you let your phone ring and let it go to voicemail. You pick up that phone and you take care of things. So I think that's really big part of it.
And the reason you see all these books is because back in 2005, Todd and I want to grow the company, but we couldn't afford a $20,000 coaching session. So we decided to read more books, business books. So maybe we'll find some golden nuggets in there and that help us propel our business. Because we look around, there was very, very few services that coach husband and wife team. So we decided to read a lot and extract useful information. And so now today, as Todd said, we look back and we said, you know what, let's give back to the couples that want to work together and maybe do just coaching couple who work together, specifically just the couple, not individual.
Yeah. But back to that, she also does this great vision board, or we call it the ask board, but vision boards. So that's very, very effective. But I think why 90% fail in our business is just not having that effort and following that schedule, and not just having a to-do list. I think a to-do list is a little passé. Just having a to-do list isn't enough. And that effort where you actually schedule in certain things to be done, and during that anywhere between 7 to 11 o'clock in the morning, where it's the quietest time, you really shoot to kill during those times where you laser focused on prospecting. I mean, I think the biggest part of our business is just prospecting. Don't spend any more time than that. Spend 70% of your time getting in front of buyers, getting in front of sellers. Obviously, at this point in our career, we get tons of leads that come directly to us. But at least when we initially were trying to grow ourselves, just going relentlessly towards cold calling and getting in front of buyers and sellers. And I think the problem that people have is they get distracted. They end up worrying about going out and trying to get milk for the house. They try to worry about talking to their buddies. They end up being in environments where it's toxic, where people are negative. You got to stay away from all of that. You get distracted way too easily in our business, and it's just so easy to get complacent. You get agents that make one sale and then all of a sudden they go on vacation for a month after that. You've got to forget about that. You've got to think about the long game. You can't go short on it, and just have that schedule that you are die hard. This is what I'm going to do. This is the time we're going to make it happen. And you don't stop until you get there, whether it takes till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, till 8 o'clock at night. You get that stuff done, get it off of your list of things to do during your schedule.
So if I may ask, add to your question is, why are we why don't we get distracted with all the other opportunities? Mm-hmm. Because Todd and I have the thing on our vision board. Every year we make a new one, and we share our ideas together, but then we each also have our own goal. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to build a company that is unique, like the Google version of real estate, where our employees have all the full benefits, 401k, sick leave, vacation, employees. Agents, same thing, have dry cleaning, clothes, childcare center, and fitness center. A new house, a new car. That's what we want to build. So we're so focused on that. And if we invest in anything else, we have a lot of investments, but the reason we stay with our brokerage and that culture is we want to embrace that culture. It's a corporation, it doesn't die. So we embrace them. We go, well, you got to step up, become a leader. This is what we want to build. And once we get it done, everybody harvests it. Ty and I are comfortable. We're okay. But what about you? What about the team? So we want to do that. We want to be able to change the mentality of a real estate brokerage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. You know, most broker of records or broker owners, are landlords. And that may not go over well with some of the brokers who listen to the podcast or who I've interviewed, but step up then. Mm-hmm. Right? I feel that most brokerages try to, they build a business plan around, some of the broker, 10, 12, 15,000 per agent, and let's just fill in as many agents as we can. We know most of them won't be successful, but we're aiming for 12 to 15,000 per agent. And, I think that's a broken model. And that's why one of the reasons why the churn is so high in the industry. Do you invest, do you do other sorts of businesses outside of your core business, or is this like the only focus?
90% of our focus is on that, but 10% of our focus is on the 7 other businesses that we also manage and maintain. Wow. Our passion obviously is in this business, but we also have a spirits company. We have a company called Cardinal de Four. That's an Armagnac company. We have a construction company. We have a finance company. We have quite a few other businesses. We own some mobile home communities. So there are a lot of other businesses that we love to be part of. We're entrepreneurs at heart. We love helping others, and the main thing is on those businesses, we're helping to spur a partner of ours to grow the business and to mentor them and to teach them. And we're also growing the side of business coaching husbands and wives. And we're not even charging for that. We do that because we know that when we reached out within, after our 10 years of working together, we were at each other's throat a little bit, and we were like, hey, I want to go in this direction. She wants to go in this direction. So we were like, how do we work this out? We love each other. How do we make this happen? We're we're two great people. How do we stay together and make this happen together as a team? And we reached out and we looked everywhere. I mean, we looked overseas. We tried to find psychologists. And there just wasn't anywhere there. And then that's when we reached out to, just learning. We read, and then we were, wow, you know what? We need to understand what our real goal is together, and then focus on that weekly, daily, monthly, and some self time for us. I mean, we were just so high level. I mean, we were working and talking about work till 9 o'clock at night until we dropped to the bed and fell asleep. And then that becomes a little bit toxic, where you have to stop and not just put all your time into work and your family. You have to put some time into us. So we sat there and we wish we would met people like us. Now that we figured out the secret recipe, now we figured out the golden nuggets, we want people to be able to stay together and be able to work together and be successful. Because who else is better to grow your business than your spouse? I mean, it's just great. Even though the percentages aren't that great, we think you can go against that curve, and we hope to save some marriages. We hope to save some businesses, and we hope to save some of those families that are struggling, and just give them a helping hand. So those are other businesses that we're passionate about, and we're trying to grow. On top of all that, we're trying to write 2 of our first books. So we're very excited about that. So that's going to be a good thing as well.
Ghostwriter.
Ghost.
Well, we have 2 children too. So if the couple can work together, peacefully and successfully, the children will look up to that as well. So we have a 12-year-old and 9-year-old, a boy and a girl. And every day they come back and they go, Mom, how, how do you work together? And, and being a mom and a supporter. And, I take the back seat, and that's something that, a couple has to admit, who's going to take the back seat, right? So I like direct and produce. I don't like to be in the spotlight.
It's interesting though. So I'm the big mouth, and my wife is, I say, hon, I need to do this. Mm-hmm. I can't get it out. And she goes, well, maybe we'll do this, this, and that. Without that, I couldn't do the podcast. I couldn't be in real estate. We are in coaching. And so how do we do all that? And I can't without her.
Yes.
It's impossible. And you're absolutely right. There comes a point, we have 3 girls, and the insanity in your life in terms of the real estate business, the family can break, right? It can break apart. Real estate is the most challenging business in the world. I believe it is. You got to be everything to everybody all the time. And how do you keep that together as a family, right? What's really interesting is that, I have it, like I grew up with a single mom. We didn't have any money, but I had food. It wasn't always the best food, but I had food, right? I didn't have to go sell like you, but I did go work and I delivered papers. I did all these things, but there was always a baseline level of comfort. And what I find is that people who have experienced real hardship work way harder and have way more gratitude than most people in North America. Right? We have such an opportunity here in North America to perform at such a high level, but most of us think that we're owed free time. We're not owed free time. And that is a lesson for me. And I realized that how much opportunity and time that we squander trying to make a decision when there's opportunities right in front of us.
I think the key word you said there was gratitude. And we're huge on gratitude, grateful. Every day we come and we see our team and we thank them for being part of the team. We go into our meetings and say, hey, we appreciate you all being at our meeting and being on time and sharing this time with us. The minute that we feel that someone isn't grateful for what they've received, it's not a good fit for us, because we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. We actually, when we say that we give back to our community, we are out there on the weekends giving 1,000 backpacks every year to the kids, and we're the ones handing it out with our team. We're out there in the blazing heat and trying to see those smiling faces. I remember there's this family that had 6 little girls that come every year, and would wear something matching. Last year they wore little cow outfits, and that's what we live for. We love to see those smiling faces and seeing our community grow. Again, we have a passion for where we came from and how we started. We lived in not the greatest part of the neighborhood, so we still are in that area, and that's where our passion lies. Just giving that gratefulness every day, and understanding in that gratefulness, I think we've derived where our passion comes from. And that's and other golden nuggets. And I know we've kind of talked about life and manifestation and all this stuff. We want to share some golden nuggets with some of your audience, obviously, with some of our success. Is I think one of the big things as far as golden nuggets is how to teach and how to coach. I think one thing for our children and our team ourselves is putting in just 15 minutes. I think even with reading, you don't try to eat that elephant in one moment. You don't try to dig that hole. You dig it one step at a time. So with our kids, we've used a strategy, and actually what we've learned from our kids has developed into what we've taught our agents, and it's just as effective. And so we ask our kids, hey, you're going to read for 15 minutes. You don't have to read what we want you to read. You read whatever you want for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes today. And they end up reading for 15 minutes, and guess what happens? They read for half an hour instead, and then all of a sudden they're reading for an hour. Then all of a sudden they're gravitating towards other books. So with our agents, where they don't like the door knocking, or they don't like the cold calling, or they don't like to prospect, we say, just do it for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Just try it for a little bit. Then they get a little bit of success. They'll get a little bit of going back a couple steps back, but they get a couple steps forward. But just entering into that realm where you're building relationships, you're cultivating it, you start that 15 minutes, and then it opens up a whole new different world for people. So if you can just get people to just open that door, to take that first step, to open that first book for 15 minutes, then it opens up a whole different category for everybody.
For some reason, when you're not in the momentum of opening that door, it's very hard to get into the momentum of opening that door, right? There is momentum to business and to producing. What advice would you have for a brand new agent starting out today? What should they do to start producing today? What if they start today? What do they got to do?
Well, first find a company like ours. No.
Not in Toronto.
Yeah, or in Toronto. Cindy,
I would advise them to follow what the sales manager teach them for at least the first 2 months. Door knocking, cold calling, follow up with leads, anything that the manager show you, do it. Show that you're serious about this business. When I meet the new agent, or in my first orientation with the agent, I tell them, today you're here, but I guarantee only 20% of you are going to make it.
Yep.
So
be the 20%, 10 people, just 2 of you are going to make it. So I don't know which of you are going to be there, but in order to be part of the 20%, you got to do this, and this. Okay. I think as a new agent, be open-minded, be humble, and always be willing to learn. Always be willing to learn. The coach, the sales manager, your team member will see that you're serious about business, and they want to help you more.
Mm-hmm. On my side, my golden nugget, or initially, if you're first time being an agent, I think finding the right environment that puts you in the right fit. So if you're a high producer that come to our company and all it is about making money, it's not the right fit. Find out if your brokerage or broker fits your wave pattern, your thought processes, your dreams. Do they align? I think all too often we worry about going to the biggest name, the biggest brokerage. You get lost in the shuffle a lot of times going to the biggest, the best. Sometimes it's not always what it's cracked up to be. Find a brokerage that cares about you, cares about your growth, and aligns. I mean, if you want to go to a brokerage is all about making the sale, then go to a brokerage that, hey, it's all hardcore sales. For us, it's a more about giving back to your community, and we feel that ends up giving back in spades. We feel that if you go towards an environment where people care about what you do, what you're about, and take that extra 10 seconds, you're going to find out in that first interview or that first week on the job. Don't settle. Don't just go to any brokerage, because honestly, you can go to any brokerage, they'll hire you. Any decent brokerage will hire you, but you want to go to a place that can coach you, can teach you, not just, and we have conversations, and this conversation obviously started about business and numbers, but it morphed towards life and goals and what you're intrigued. What you want to manifest? What do you want to grow in your life? Is your goal, hey, I want to be the top 1%? We can get you there. We can help you get there, but are you going to be willing to do the right things that inside of you make sense, that puts you at peace with, whether it's Buddha, God, or whatever your religion is? Is it doing the right things? And if you're headed towards that same direction, we feel that's where the magic really happens. You combine that with the right company and the team that helps to support what your real goals are, then you're in the right place.
Right. Did you find it's very difficult for someone to actually find their right purpose or the right goal, right? Where they become congruent, or you call it praxis, being congruent in my thoughts, feelings, and my actions, my attitude, that I'm fully in alignment with what I really want. But most people can't figure out what they really want because they get stuck in the idea of that. How do I do it? Right?
When I speak to a candidate, I don't interview them. I interview them. I let them tell me their stories, where they come from, what hardship they've been through.
Right.
And I can kind of weave out and read their ethic and how they work very quickly. Yeah.
Is there a book that you would highly recommend? 3 books from each of you today that I should read to become better at my life and my business.
Well, my favorite one is called the 360 degree leaders. Right?
Yep.
That's fine.
I like that a lot. That's going to apply to anybody, any position. It could be an agent, could be a staff or employee. It's an amazing. And second book is my second favorite is Good to Great. Of course, it's right there.
Yep.
And then The Art of Wars, my favorite too.
Myself, real old, a little bit old school. Eat That Frog.
Brian Tracy.
Brian Tracy, the gospel. He's awesome. Obviously, trying to overcome that one thing that you don't like to do in the morning, and do that first, and then the rest of your day flows smooth. Second book that I enjoy is Atomic Habits. And that's a little bit newer thinking. James Clear. Atomic Habits, and I'll have a preface 3 and 3B. I love Steve Sims, Blue Fishing. He teaches relationships, actually. So this is a different book that not everybody listens to. And 3B is going to be Illuminate by David Corbin. Illuminate the negative, face it, follow it, fix it. Don't avoid those issues and things that you're weak at. Go after it, try to figure it out. And if you can't, that's not your cup of tea, then delegate it. But don't avoid it. Don't go around it. Go hit on it straight on. So we can tell you a million other different books you can probably see behind us. But yeah, those probably come to mind right off the bat.
I really appreciate you. You two are very unique. You're producing at an extremely high level. You're growing an organization. Your parents. And if anyone wanted to reach out to both of you today to either join your team or to just ask some questions, maybe be in terms of mentorship, what's the best way to communicate with you both?
I think I'm a little bit more accessible because Cindy spends a little more of her personal time with family. But you can always ping me on Facebook. I answer Messenger, no problem. Go to Todd, just find me on Todd Su, and I'll answer you fairly quickly and get back to you. And I'm not going to charge you anything or make you come work for us. We just love helping people. We're at this point in our career, we've pivoted towards the growth of others. Obviously, we're high producers, and we're going to continue to be that. But our passion now is helping others grow, and just seeing other people achieve their goals makes us excited and happy, and especially couples to stay together and to be able to work together for so many years. It means a lot to us to see if you can get people together. And
it's amazing.
Yes.
Like 7 years ago, we talked to each other and say, should we retire now, or what are we going to do? And we decided to purchase another company and grow it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And which one was that?
That was Advantage Homes.
Advantage
was
Homes.
that? Yes.
That's a modular company.
Yes, another modular company.
Modular company. So are you building modular homes as well?
Yes. So modular hotels, modular apartments, modular houses. We're doing We just did a 120 home development in San Luis Obispo, where we turned an RV trailer park into a beautiful multifamily. Multifamily modular.
So when I look at, you know what? We'll talk about that after. I appreciate you both. Thank you for being people that other agents can look up to. Thank you for some of your words of wisdom. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for giving it. And I look forward to connecting with you guys in the future.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you for having us. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you've heard and you're interested in seeing if you are fit to work with Peak Results Academy, here's what I want you to do next. Head over to peakresultsacademy.com/call. That's peakresultsacademy.com/call and book an appointment to speak with our team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 45 minutes and get you crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, What do you really want out of life and your business? Number 2, what is not working for you today? And number 3, the exact strategy you should be using to create massive change in these areas. Remember, changing your life and creating massive results does not happen by itself. You need expert guidance to make it happen. We're helping clients all over the world create peak results in their health, in their businesses, and in their personal lives. To see if we can help you do the same, head over to peakresultsacademy.com/call. We'll chat soon.